Hey everyone, this is Jake. So today I'm going to be talking about my dissertation topic, which is Gaius Marius. And this is one of the key figures of the first Roman civil wars. These aren't necessarily well known, especially by the layman. The focus obviously is more on the second and third Roman civil wars, which is Julius Caesar and Augustus. Just to put this in perspective, so Marius, who was consul 7 times, which is the most of any Roman ever in the entire history of the Republic, has had 4 biographies in English written on him in total. Just looking at Julius Caesar, there has been 12 at minimum since 2000. And the level of interest in Julius Caesar versus Marius doesn't make as much sense as you might think because, obviously William Shakespeare play, but Marius was one of the pivotal players of his time and honestly sets a stage for what Julius and Augustus are going to do, who coincidentally or not coincidentally are actually relatives of Marius. So Julius Caesar is actually Marius's nephew, and he's going to use his name in order to kind of get his start into politics and get him on the right track. Now, why has this been the case? Why has there been so much that it's ignored Marius in favor of Caesar and these other people? Well, the biggest thing is that the primary sources hate Marius. They are not happy with him. They are going to be the ones who survive are actually people that disliked Marius immensely, or actually probably hated more so. And there are a couple reasons for this. In terms of what Marius was about, he, number one, was this anti-Greek intelligentsia kind of thinker, which, was definitely going against the grain because it had started the shift where, Romans were expected to be both fluent in Latin and in Greek. And Marius was basically like, well, why? We beat the Greeks. What need have we of their ideas and whatnot? And this really kind of rubs a lot of our primary source thinkers the wrong way. And these are the ones who were actually even removed in time from Marius, because many of the people that are actually writing about this stuff are in fact Greek. Now, the Roman sources that survive, they're going to be men who had either was Sulla himself, who was Marius's biggest enemy, or consuls and supporters of Sulla are the only surviving accounts. Marius doesn't actually write any things about what he is believing. So we have this record from his enemies that has really been dictating the narrative. Now, in terms of how he's been treated in the biographies of today, the 3 that are written in the 1950s and 60s are going to see Marius as kind of this political neophyte who kind of stumbles into luck and fortune after making the dumbest mistakes and whatnot. And these don't make a lot of sense because of the fact that how can you blunder into 7 consulships? 1, okay. 2, possibly. But after that, he becomes actually consul 5 times in a row. And in Roman tradition, he was supposed to be consul more than once every 10 years. So the fact that he was able to be consul 6 times in 8 years actually shreds this argument entirely. Now, there was a newer biography written in the 1990s by a guy named R.J. Evans, and he is going to notice and recognize the fact that there was a lot of political skill from Marius. Again, our previous biographers looked at him as a military man who was very good, but maybe a little bit overrated. But again, he politically just not very good. And so Evans is going to give him a treatment in terms of rehabilitating him politically. But one of the things that I'm looking to do is talk about it from an intellectual perspective. And I do obviously talk about the military and the political because that is what he does. However, he is going to be harnessing the power of the people against the nobility, the optimates. And this is something that is, all the biographers have noticed this. However, they see this as an attempt of ambitio, ambition, and not looking at it as him thinking about things. He just was kind of doing this because he was so focused on getting what he wanted that he was doing things regardless of the consequences to Rome and to the Republic itself. Now, what I'm interested in looking at is this actually the case? Was Marius this ambitious, egomaniacal man who's just looking out for number one and doesn't care if he breaks the Republic or not? Or was there something more to his thought process? And one of the things that's been interesting in the historiography lately is that we've seen a rehabilitation since the early 2000s of the way the Roman people have been perceived. Because in the past, people have looked at the people of the Republic, the populares, the people, as just these people that could be just convinced by anyone who would offer them free grain or free food or free this or that. And what people are starting to recognize is the fact that no, they were motivated by more things than that. These people were not one-dimensional. They were much more complex. And so what was Marius doing in order to harness this? And this is something that I'm very interested in, and I will look forward to giving you more information about this. Thanks. Bye.